My lawyers are in court right now as we speak for you, arguing in Chicago and Portland to keep them safe, to bring in the guard. The government doesn't want it there, but we do.
There are constitutional limits to what the president can do. And we, of course, are taking him to court. They're in court right this moment in the hearing, what that ruling will be. And we expect the president to follow the law.
And we can solve the problem very quickly. And we're doing that anyway, regardless of if he doesn't want it or if he does want it.
Well, the Trump administration appealing a federal judge's ruling that they can't use the Illinois or Texas National Guard for public safety in Chicago, at least for 14 days. Again, the president's appealing that. Good morning. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop with you each and every weekday morning. Tons to tackle here from yesterday's court action, and you'll be able to see here from the docket. They had the hearing yesterday, but they had a temporary restraining order issued by Judge April Perry, and that was ordered from the bench. And the order out with essentially saying a 14-day temporary restraining order against the Trump administration from using the guard. But the Department of Defense, as you can see here, they have appealed. So notice of appeal from the Department of War as to the next steps here in this case of using the National Guard for public safety purposes. So let's hear from yesterday's action, because it was split screen. I'm here in the office with one computer streaming the White House press coverage of the cabinet meeting that Trump had with all of his cabinet officials. But then at the same time, Governor J.B. Pritzker was holding an unrelated news conference where he was expected to take questions about the ongoing, at that time, court case. Because while the cabinet meeting was going on and Pritzker was holding a news conference, we had our reporter Jim Talamonte in federal court at the same time, simultaneously, all going on. And the back and forth in the split screen was pretty remarkable. Here's President Trump talking about public safety in Chicago during yesterday's cabinet meeting.
I looked at crime numbers in Chicago. They're through the roof. And I have a governor who stands up every day and tells us how wonderful Chicago is. Just a lie. It's like a con job. We're restoring law and order in our country. We're restoring it here, but we're restoring it right now. We're in Memphis. We're going to Chicago. We're going to other cities. Many governors are asking us to, including Democrats are trying to ask. I don't know what the big problem is. If I were a Democrat governor, I'd be saying, whatever you can do to get crime down, I'll take anybody. You can bring them in I don't care who it is. A lot of people said that. They interviewed women, these beautiful women in Chicago, black women with a MAGA hat, a red hat. They said, we don't care who he brings in here, but this place is really dangerous. We just want crime to stop. It's true.
And the president hearing that message from organizations like Chicago Flips Red, and he's talked about them quite a bit, and even Chicago Flips Red saying Trump's sending them love letters through the media. But the president obviously saying he's focused on making Chicago safe, but Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, again, at the same time that the White House is holding their cabinet meeting, the governor was at a podium in Chicago, an unrelated event, but took questions from the media and said that people are concerned about what they're seeing down the streets.
They're wearing fatigues. They're carrying long guns, automatic weapons. They're coming to downtown Chicago, Michigan Avenue. What is the purpose of that? It's all a show.
And he says it's a show, but the White House says it's not. They are focused on public safety. And again, as all this was going on, they're in court. Got the White House doing their cabinet meeting. You've got the governor holding a news conference. Pam Bondi at the White House says they're in court.
My lawyers are in court right now as we speak for you, arguing in Chicago and Portland to keep them safe, to bring in the guard. The government doesn't want it there, but we do. We're going to keep their citizens safe, thanks to you.
The people want it. I don't understand the politics of it. I don't understand why Pritzker is trying to protect people that are really bad people.
They're more scared of the anarchists that are on the street and the politics of it than they are of doing the right thing.
I think they're afraid.
Yeah,
I think they're threatened. They don't tell us, but I think Pritzker's threatened by people. There's no other reason that this could be possible, that they don't want to have a safe Chicago. And we can solve the problem very quickly. And we're doing that anyway, regardless of if he doesn't want it, or if he does want it, we're doing it anyway.
So the president is saying they're doing it anyway. And this was, of course, before the temporary restraining order was issued in federal court. And we had reporter Jim Talamonte up there. And you could see the headline, Federal Judge Grants Illinois Restraining Order Against Trump Administration for Guard Deployment. And outside the federal building there with some federal law enforcement officials, Perry said not even the most ardent Federalists, Alexander Hamilton, believed one state's militia could be sent to another for political retribution, the judge said. So this is all what was reported out by Jim in court, and I encourage you to go through and read this. Christopher Wells, and you find this at thecentersquare.com. Christopher Wells, division chief of the Illinois Attorney General's office, someone who also argued in federal court supporting the gun ban. So Christopher Wells is pretty busy with litigation for the Trump administration through the Attorney General's office, or for the Pritzker administration through the Attorney General's office. So you've got the back and forth, and a lot of this was more about whether or not the Trump administration had credibility, especially when you have several of the individuals that the Department of Homeland Security said was committing assaults against law enforcement, having their charges not go through. So interesting to hear all that and read all that. But Governor J.B. Pritzker was questioning the rationale even before the judge and all the reports coming out of the hearing yesterday in federal court. Pritzker questioned why exactly the Trump administration's doing this in Chicago.
They're saying that it's about protecting a facility. They're saying that it's about protecting ICE officers and agents. When the president repeatedly, I mean, you've said it, and I'm not at all surprised, but even after all the claims that this was about protecting facilities and people, because he started with he wants to deploy people because of crime, which is ludicrous, right? We're not even in the top 25 cities for violent crime. So he chooses Chicago first.
The governor questioning the rationale, but Trump says, listen, this is about public safety.
But here in Washington, we've deployed federal law enforcement and National Guard to restore public safety, and we're working to replicate that in numerous places all over the country. And we have a very powerful military. We have a very powerful National Guard. I want to thank the governor of Texas, who has been, as usual, great. Governor Abbott, he gave us 400 troops without even a question. And we have other governors likewise doing what has to be done, because they know we have to confront crime. We're directly confronting the sinister threat of left-wing domestic terrorism and violence, including the terrorist group Antifa.
So again, the president talking about some of the rationale for using the Guard and increasing federal law enforcement in certain areas. But the Democrat-controlled areas say it's political retribution, and they seem to have gotten a district judge in Chicago to share that same sentiments with the temporary restraining order issued yesterday. Here's the governor saying that the protests are peaceful.
And I want to emphasize peaceful. That's what they're doing. That's what they're intending to do. And at least so far in the city of Chicago, in the state of Illinois, those protests really have been, I think, for the most part, admirable. And they're taking one instance of tear gas being fired by CBP or ICE into a group of people, often unprovoked, and then making it look at, well, there's smoke and there are people running around and that's mayhem on the ground, and that's going to be the excuse to send troops in, or that's going to be the excuse to do more than they're already doing.
So with the governor making that assertion that it's peaceful protests, and what has not been peaceful has been instigated by federal law enforcement. It's an interesting claim. And I guess we have to review all the different tape that's out there, especially tape that the governor is encouraging the public to get in protesting immigration enforcement. But up around the Broadview facility, where ICE has their facility, they've got significant concerns. You got state police up there who are actually doing a separate public safety mission of just ensuring people can get in and out of that building safely without having to drive through crowds of protesters. in Broadview, that's the ICE processing facility. And we're going to talk a little bit more in the next segment about all of that situation here with Illinois in Focus Daily. But one thing that the governor said yesterday, and it's interesting because kind of also goes up against what the president said yesterday. I mean, the president talking about using the National Guard said, hey, there's some Democrat governors that are liking this idea of addressing crime in their cities using more federal support, including the National Guard. But Pritzker, he says, listen, there's Republicans who have concerns about deploying the Guard in states and cities.
Some Republicans, they don't like to talk about it publicly, but privately, there's real concern on their part about what this means, this overreach of the federal government and how it is that we can protect. Because remember, even in Republican districts, these ICE and CBP agents are disrupting things and causing real havoc. And so they understand what this means. And, they can project, I don't know what's going on with Republicans in Congress, but some folks anyway, Republicans that I've talked to, can project forward and imagine, what if the tables were turned? How would it be that Republicans would react?
There you go with the latest back and forth as the Trump administration appeals a temporary restraining order prohibiting them from using the National Guard in Illinois. We'll track this for you even through the weekend as the story continues to develop. Get the headlines at thecentersquare.com and wake up with us each and every weekday morning here with Illinois in Focus Daily.